KWT slaying.
Salama family, salama. How y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So today we're gonna have a great discussion with our sister Sharonda. Hey, sister Sharonda, how you doing?
I am great. Hello, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. It's 7:36 p.m. here, so I'm already in Sabbath mode.
So, sister Sharonda, before we get into the deep questions, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your awakening?
Um, I am originally from Chicago. My awakening was about, oh gosh, I want to say about 3 or 4 years ago. I had just quit my job at Walgreens. The Most High told me to quit my job. I was just miserable there, and I hated being a part of like pharmaceuticals. And I was just a shift lead, but I felt like I was just a part of the problem, and I was miserable. I would cry before I went to work, and I kept praying like, "What do you want me to do?" And I heard him say, "Quit." And I'm like, "Well, that can't be right," because I'm thinking it was going to be a different, a different response. Um, and I was obedient, and I quit, and it was amazing. After that, I started reading my Bible more. I had more time for the Most High. I wasn't so bogged down by all the worries of the world. I had a full time job. I was making nice enough money, but I wasn't bogged down anymore. And I don't know what led me was my curiosity about the people who call themselves Jews. I kept wondering who they were and how they were God's chosen people. It just didn't click for me. And I think I kept Googling like who are the Jews or how are they Jews or whatever it was. And then the book From Babylon to Timbuktu. It was a free PDF copy online, and I read it in one day. I knew that if I didn't read that book, that free PDF, if I didn't finish it that night, I was never going to be able to get it for free. And I didn't know if it was a real book. So I read that whole book in one night. One night. Like I didn't even go to sleep. And it shocked me because that book tells us who we are, and it gives all these definitive answers. It gives real historical history. And I prayed about it. I was scared. I was so scared. And I didn't really want to believe it at first. I thought it was like this trick. I thought it was a trick. I thought it was saying like, of course you want to be something that you're not. But I prayed. I was like, if this is real, don't let me put it down. And I just kept getting more and more overwhelming evidence. I found your channel. I found Pastor Darby, unfortunately, after he passed away, Dante's channel. And it was just all these, to me, honestly, and this is going to sound like like puff, like these brilliant men interpreting the word and history the way it was meant to be interpreted. So my awakening was scary, it was exciting, but it changed everything for me.
So did you get a lot of pushback with that awakening? And did you go through the emotional changes of they lied to me, they lied?
Oh, the so my first like battle was realizing that like we were responsible for putting putting the Messiah on the cross. Like we were like, yeah, we don't want him. And I just broke down. Like I cried. I was like, I was okay when it was the white people that had done it. When I realized that it was us, it was our decision, I broke down. That was my big like, this is real moment. My family probably thinks I'm a nutter. Like my mother, my father, they're always gonna love me. And my sister, I try to tell her things, but um for the most part, like none of my family is awake. My family are you all. That's my family now, because no matter how much evidence I put out there, no matter what how hard I've prayed, and it's just nothing. So I'm just like, whatever, I'm moving to Africa. They're like, of course you are. Of course you're moving to Africa.
So when you finally got to the point of saying I'm moving to Africa and it became real, what did your husband say about that one?
So I found a Facebook post from like 3 years ago when I first was like, let's move to Africa. And he's like, mm-mm. And my response to him was, you'll change your mind. And I actually, like, that was the whole thing I put on Facebook. So then, of course, Facebook loves to remind you of your past. And then it popped up right before we had decided to, right before we were actually moving to Africa. And I was like, see, I told you you changed your mind. At first, he was not, like 3 years ago, he was like, no. But then after, like all we had been through, and just realizing that Babylon is just not where we want to be, not where we wanted to be at all. And he loves it here. He absolutely loves it. He was very supportive. It wasn't a big push. I had to explain some things, like it's hard for me to be in the U.S. It's hard, and I know that you won't quite understand it because you're not black, and I had to break it down for him. Like, I need this, I really do, and eventually he started to see that they're not going to treat you fairly at all. But if my wife is going through this much, then it's worth. And we sold everything. Like, there's nothing left for us there. We literally have sold everything that we have.
So you been there what, about 3 months?
A little over it. We're going into our fourth month.
Okay. And so you were here doing the whole Rona thing, right, in the States.
Yes.
So was that like the icing on the cake and like we're not going to deal with this no more? This place is under judgment. I'm out. Was that it?
Right. Um, I mean, I have a group of friends that I speak to, and my like constant, like my mantra was, I hate this place. Like, I would say it so much because I've never really felt comfortable just being anywhere in that country. I never felt like I actually belonged anywhere, no matter where. I've lived in three major cities: Chicago, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. And even though Phoenix was the easiest place to live in, it just felt wrong. It just felt like I didn't belong. And then when like the coronavirus hit, I'm just like, okay, look, like this is they're trying really hard. And then during COVID, I had a great time at home.
I know.
I'd said before that like all these Hebrews were at home, we were living our best lives. And then George Floyd, like they had to disrupt that somehow, because I had gone out and gotten a job. I was like, oh, because I we were new to the area. We had just literally like fled from LA 2 weeks before COVID shut down the US at the very least. So I got a job around May, and I remember like trying to push that into the back of my mind, because everywhere where I worked, everybody was white. And one day I was driving to work, and I just broke down. I cried so hard that I thought I was going to crash my car. And I'm like, I can't stay here. I can't be here anymore.
You know, that's how I feel. I mean, I really don't want to be here. You know, my wife not on board yet, right? And
Oh,
so, not that she wouldn't go, but you know, I'd have to go and set up everything and all this stuff, and you know, it's just a lot. So, tell everybody what part of Africa you are living in,
I am currently in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
and how do you like it?
It has its ups and downs. I'm gonna be honest. Like, when you first get here, it's like sparkly and new. Everyone looks like you, and it's Africa. Like, I still get excited. Like, oh my gosh, I'm in Africa. I said that just yesterday. Like, I am like on the road. I'm walking down the street in Africa. So there's still this excitement that I feel, but um, there was a reality that sunk in after we started to get more settled, that it is a lot harder to be here than we thought it would be, and harder than people who have come before us have told us that it is.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. I've listened to a lot of people who from the states who move there, but I don't hear a lot of the struggles, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you
Mhm.
about. I mean, we know all the good things. We've heard all the good things. I
Yeah.
want to hear about some of the struggles. What's the toughest thing that you had to deal with? Moving to Africa and the culture and everything.
Well, see, here we go. So I'm just gonna be honest. It's honestly been the people. I was told like by a lot of people, oh, they're so nice here, they're so giving, they're so caring. No, I can't speak to everyone else's experiences, but I can speak to my own. And I don't get that warm, fuzzy, caring people. Like I don't know those people. I've met a handful, and I say I'm actually being generous. I've met about 3 people who I feel like they're not here to use you. They kind of see us as, they call us Mzungu, which to me is an insult because I'm from Africa, regardless of
Yeah,
where I was raised. I'm
yeah,
African, and when you like look in Swahili, what Mzungu means, it means white. So they treat us like, they call us Mzungu, but they don't treat us with the respect that they give white people or
yeah.
other nations.
So I heard that, like, and tell me if you've experienced this. You'll go to a restaurant and the white person will come in, they'll serve the white person, and you got there first. Is that the type of thing you're talking about?
Oh, I have never experienced that, but I have, like, so my husband is Mexican and Puerto Rican. He's fair. He looks like he's white.
Hmm.
At least to them. Like to us, we could tell he's not white because he has a little, color to him. But to them, they just see a Mzungu. So if we're out and we're in this market, and it's just a very, very large market, it's Karaoke market, and I'm probably saying it wrong. And it's like it's huge and it's crowded and it's filled with stuff and people and cars, and people are like bumping me left and right. They're dang near knocking me over, but they make way for him.
Really?
They look at him with yes. And he doesn't notice it because he's just standing in front of me, walking in front of me to make way for me. But he doesn't see that once they go around him, they close in on me. So I don't go there anymore because I'm not trying to get into a fight because I start pushing back. I pushed some man so hard, he turned around, like I was like, watch where you're going.
See, they
They do
don't
it in
understand
stores.
either. Since
Mm-mm.
we're descendants of slaves from America, we're a bit aggressive. You're not gonna just step
Right,
all over us,
right.
right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why. That's why I
There's
say
enough.
when we get back there, there's gonna be some
They're
little
gonna be surprised.
difficulty. Yeah,
Oh yeah, they're gonna be surprised.
yeah.
They're not ready for Judah. They're not, like,
No.
not in the sense of our innovation, our hunger, our, like, we hustle. I've seen a lot of, and it's just how I perceive it. I see a lot of men that seem idle. I don't know if it's just because their work culture is a lot more relaxed than ours is in the States, but they seem to be quite. Uh, I don't want to say lazy because I never want to say that about a black man. I don't care where he's from, but they don't seem to be as dedicated to getting out of situations, like impoverished situations, as I would think they could be, because I come here with fresh eyes, seeing all this opportunity and wanting to work with them, and a lot of us come here wanting to work with them, but they don't seem to want to work with us because they seem to have this, honestly, like an animosity towards us.
Why? Because we should be at their level because we're black, and only the
I think
white
so.
person and people of other nations can succeed and run businesses, right? I think that's that
Yeah.
colonized mind, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
crab barrel mentality is still
Mhm.
there as well as in the States, and it's the curse. you know,
Right. Yeah. Yep. That's it. They see us. They think it's like they think we're rich, but it's like they don't think we deserve it. It's like you look like me. Why did you get this opportunity? It's like I was born in captivity. You don't
yep,
understand that. We
exactly.
come with so much baggage and we carry around so much weight. And when we come here, all we want is to be loved. And then you turn around and call me a Mzungu
Yep,
and treat me
yep.
like I don't belong here. I have been told on several occasions, you are not Tanzanian. You need to go to West Africa. If you want things to change, you need to go somewhere else. Like, you're not my sister. I've been told all kinds of stuff. So I'm just
But they
like,
don't tell
oh,
it. They don't tell them Mzugu that though, do they?
no. They call my husband brother all the time. Ka,
Mm.
ka, ka. Because they think he has money. It's
Yeah.
like he's broke just like me.
well, Well, let me ask you this: do you regret moving to Africa then, or how do you feel?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. I can say with all the things here that I, look like it's not even big things. That was the biggest thing for me. Everything else is just like, but I love being here. I love this experience. I love I love going outside in the wet. To me, the weather's perfect. I like humidity. And right now we're in like a cool windy season, so it's beautiful outside. I hear like I love seeing goats and cows and chickens and children and pregnant women, and it's just there's this beautiful there's such a beauty about the simplicity of their lives, and from an outsider's perspective, I see them just walking around, not in a rush, kids in groups there, and they're still safe. They're not concerned about their kids not making it home from school because someone snatched them. It's not a thing. They live their lives almost without fear.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. So read that on the screen. I know you must get this a lot. What would be your response?
Oh, dang. I don't get that a lot, and that's
Oh,
not
you
a
know.
problem for me.
Hmm.
Like I no, like I don't see how that's a problem, especially in this conversation. Now, if Miss Renee wants to reach out to me and let me know her opinion, she's welcome to. But I married the man I married because I love him. And if the Most High didn't want me to marry him, he would have stepped in and he didn't. I'm not disobedient in the way that I move. I don't date a lot. I've never dated outside of my ethnicity until this man. But I have known this man since I was 14 years old,
So,
and he's
hey,
known me that long.
so let me
Mhm.
ask you a question. Because I know sometimes that I've seen Israelites beat up on other Israelites because of this situation, right? Where you marry someone who's not
Mhm.
an Israelite. Most Israelites only woke up like 7 years ago. I'm
Right.
like, so it's like, if you ended up marrying somebody who's not part of the nation, it's sort of really not your fault because you didn't know,
Right.
right? So it's like,
Right.
I mean, it is
Yeah.
what it is, and you're not unless God told you otherwise, you're not putting them away. So, to me, I
Right.
think we got to have more compassion on that side and understand that when we go back, there's going to be people who are not of the nation with us. That's just fact. That's the Bible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, like for me, I just happened, I grew up in the age where it was sort of taboo to date people from other races, right?
Mhm.
So, it could have happened to me because I ain't know no better, but it didn't.
Right.
I grew up in New
Right.
Orleans, and New Orleans, is a black city. So, and it was taboo.
Mhm.
So, I didn't fall in that. But other people, I mean, it happens. So now that you're there, what do
Mhm.
you think in terms of this? I personally think it's part of the Exodus. I don't think the Exodus is happening the way we thought it would, that we will be marching out like Moses, and
Mhm.
the Red Sea dividing. And I'm not saying it's the complete form of the Exodus. Do you think this is part of the Exodus? I do, because from what I heard in Tanzania alone, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's over 5,000 people from the diaspora in Tanzania already, not to count West Africa and all the other places. Is that
Right.
correct or what?
I don't know how many there are of us, but there are a lot. I don't leave the house without seeing someone. And Sharita is also here. Excuse me. And she sees them like we can almost spot each other. Not almost. We can spot each other. There are times when I get confused for Tanzanian um, by Tanzanians, and I think that's great. And there are times that people look at me and they're like, "She's not one of us." But then there are times that I'm out and I see Judah, and I'm just like, and I feel this connection. I just stare at them, and I'm so happy, and I'm like so excited to see so many of us here. I do believe that this is a part of the Exodus because I believe that this is a part of our wilderness.
Yeah,
We
I
thought that
do
we would
too.
come here and be free, and just free to be us, free to praise, free to X, Y, and Z. It's still a wilderness. There's a lot of division with the people, with the diaspora that are here. There are people who came here to not be a part of a group. And I think there's more people like that than there are people who want to be a part of a group. I've reached out to people like, well, maybe we should connect. And if we're in certain neighborhoods, like where you all living, I'm not asking for their address. I'm just saying, like, if you live in Undoneo, if you're in Bahari Beach, if you're in Bezi, maybe it would help if we knew where people were living so that we could reach out to you if we need something. Crickets. No one said anything. I was like, oh, so y'all don't really want to be a part of a smaller group of like-minded individuals, because a lot of people seem to have come here to be individuals. They don't want to be a part of a group. So we're still very separated here. So it feels like you can feel like you're alone a
So
lot of the
we
time.
so they still have that Western mindset of
Oh
individuality,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Yeah. See that that
100%.
that that doesn't fulfill the part of the program. I mean, like, if we still run as individuals, we'll never survive. We
Yep.
got to become a part of that community, and we have to become one. Only the Most High can change that. That's all I can see. But you can
Right.
see that here because we don't, even though we know we're Israel, we wake up, we should pool our dollars together, right, and do things together.
Mhm.
It's not happening, and I think it's because we're still capitalistic, and capitalism is really individualistic, and let me get an advantage over you. And
Right.
so
And
if I
that's
get
what
an
it's
advantage,
like.
yeah, if I get an advantage over you, then you don't get nothing, as opposed to us, let us build together, because I don't see you
Yeah.
yet as my brother, as my sister. Oh, we Israel. I know we genetically related, we from
But that
Abraham,
means
Isaac,
nothing
and
to a lot of
Jacob.
people.
Yeah. But
That means
I don't
nothing.
see you as family yet, right? That's the reality of
Right.
it, you know.
Yep. Yeah.
So when we look at the whole structure of Tanzania, I understand that it's a little difficult in terms of getting residency, and how you have to leave every few months and come back, right? And
Yeah.
is there
That
any
part sucks.
progress in that area? I think we froze. You there? Okay, I think you're back.
Not that I've experienced. Yeah, sorry. I was trying to clear my screen. Not that I've experienced. Again, we've only been here we're going into our fourth month. So what we did was, so after 90 days, you have to leave the country. That's the rule. I met up with a group, a wonderful Hebrew lady from Miami. I mean, sorry, from Florida, and she has a hookup at immigration. So I was able to take my passports to this guy at immigration, and he stamped our passports for an extension for 30 days. A lot of people have to go in themselves and plead their case, but for whatever reason, Maya was able to get this hookup, and so we didn't have to go in ourselves. So it was easy peasy. We paid a small amount of money. It was like 80,000 T shillings. That was I guess a first time deal for us. Normally it's 80,000 T shillings each, which is about $40 USD. But technically, we should have left the country at our either at our 90 days or before our 90 days, and then come back into the country so we can get an additional 90 days. That's expensive, and it's getting to the point where it's becoming dangerous, and not on the Tanzanian side, but on the Kenyan side. Or you can go to Zambia. From what I heard, it's a little easier to get into Zambia and then come back into the States. I mean, come back into Tanzania. But Kenya has been, there's like this pushback where people are being detained at the border, they're being extorted, they're being mistreated because they know that we're coming into Kenya so that we can just spend a little bit of time there, 1 or 2 days, maybe even a week, and then leave and come back into Tanzania because this is where all of our stuff is. So they're they're really pushing back, and even the government. And I've only ever heard, I've never had any situations where this happened to me. I've heard horror stories. One lady that I met recently, she and her husband were setting up a business here, which is a whole lot of laws, obviously, because it protects everyone. But she was speaking to either a lawyer or someone that worked for the government, and the lady was saying like they don't really want African Americans here, so they're making it harder for us to stay here. So,
So
again, I haven't
so
dealt with that, but that's what I've been hearing.
is it the Tanzanian government that doesn't want us here, and Kenya?
Like,
So
as far as I've heard, Kenya seems to be pretty okay with us going there. I believe it's actually easier to become a citizen of Kenya than it is of being a Tanzania. But the Tanzanian government doesn't seem to want us here.
I wonder if that's because they're getting pressure from the United States. What do you think?
I thought about that too. I thought that too. Like, they say they want us to go back to Africa, but they know their economy would crumble if they didn't have us.
Yeah.
So I believe it's them. And if you went, I noticed being here, there are a lot of Turkic people, Arabs, and a lot of Indians. And I feel like they're able to traipse through here with such ease as if they have government officials wrapped around their fingers, because they come with money, and money talks regardless of where you are. So I feel like they don't want us here either, because they know that if we come here, we run the risk of uniting with the Tanzanians,
Yeah.
because they don't like us for no reason. It's like, how could you not like someone you've never experienced? And they seem to not want us here. And it's like, well, what have you heard about me that you don't
Yeah,
like us?
they heard what the U.S. and the Western nations said about us, that we're
Right,
drug dealers and gangbangers.
right, right.
so so it seems to me that let me get your opinion on this, because I've thought about this, and I don't know what the family would think about it. That we need a nonprofit organization that we all support, that represent the diaspora, right? And so not only that, but it needs to be a nonprofit with wealth. Like if it were to be
Hmm.
started, we all need to fund it to the highest, because that gives you influence. So, if our people in the diaspora have issues with any government in Africa, we can flex our muscles and say, look, I've heard from so and so, they're a member of our organization. You're causing
Hmm.
trouble for us. What y'all gonna do about it? Because if y'all don't do something
Yeah,
about it, we're gonna have to get involved with it, and we're gonna talk to other leaders and let the money speak, right? Because money speak. What you think of that?
yeah. That's the thing my husband said. My non-black husband, for those in the comments, they are still saying things. Yes, he said the exact same thing. He he can see the same things that we're seeing. And there are people, from what I've heard, there are groups out there who are trying, but I think the issue is money. So many people have come here on limited funds because they're not working from home. They came here on savings. They're selling T-shirts and things like that. So the money is circulating within our community, but people are afraid to put their money where their mouth is. So I believe that that would be a huge benefit, because that is what these Indians and these Turkic people did. They did the same. They came here with a bunch of money, and they set up these huge communities. I've had the privilege of living in about four different neighborhoods here, and one of them is Apunga East, which is in the city center. And I lived in a high rise. It was an Airbnb that had a beautiful view of the ocean and beautiful view of the city. And I have a dog with me, so I'm on the elevator every day, several times a day, and all I see are Muslims, light skinned Muslims for the most part. They walk through that building as if they own Africa. You step outside, they get to park their cars right up front. But if my black or my Tanzanian driver pulls up, they're questioning why he's there, but he's picking me up. But they can park their cars right up front. They walk through the halls, all with their arms all spread. They stand in front of the elevators as if you can't walk past them, or they have to get off first. And it's the same with the Indians. They have this. They have whole neighborhoods set up for them with their people, their food, where they have their housing. When the people come here, they know where to go. But with us, when we come here, we can barely even get a decent Airbnb, or and let alone a house that's within a decent price range, because there's no one here advocating for us. That is exactly what we need. We need an advocate with a lot of wealth and a lot of power, and that's not afraid to push our weight around because everyone else is doing it.
So, do you think if someone were to start a nonprofit like that, you think the Israelite community would support it?
I think some would, some wouldn't. There are others. From what I've heard, there have been people who have been here since the 60s, and they've done nothing. Like, I'm disappointed in them. Shame on them for having been here for this long and never having even put a dent in the government, whispered in their ear, because you thought that no one else would come behind you. But the group that's coming now, they are different. There are many of them who are like, let's get together, but the group is small. I believe that the more honest we are about coming here, how difficult it can be to stay here, different people will come. People will come with a different mindset, not the mindset of it's easy to be here, because then those people have to go back home because they didn't bring enough money or they didn't bring enough common sense. But those of us who will come here with a certain amount of money but are willing to sacrifice, we need those people.
Yeah, because I thought about that one time, but it's like, even like with Tail Ministries, there's very few who support us, right? So it's like, well, if we were to start that to try to help the diaspora on the continent, I mean, it'll probably be the same amount of people who support the ministry that would support something like
Right.
that. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't see how, unless, like for instance, what I think is coming in America might change things, but I don't know if they're going to be able to leave. But, we see the food shortages happening. We see that they're destroying, farms and, chicken farms and,
I
processing
saw that.
facilities here and all these things. So like probably by this time next year, there's going to be a huge food shortage and
Yeah.
things are going to get a little difficult and they're going to wish they had something in place to help facilitate them going to
Right.
the
An
continent,
exodus.
right? An
Exactly.
exodus, exactly.
Exactly.
And then I know what's going to happen, right? What's going to come to mind is that flea, right? It ain't going to be flea doctrine no more, because the Bible
Right.
says,
Right.
yeah, because the Bible says, that some people gonna be like, I'm going back to my homeland or where I came from.
Yep.
So a whole bunch of people gonna start leaving America, and we can see it
Hmm.
already on the horizon because the rich white folks already got two
Yeah.
passports.
Right.
They
I just
already
heard
looking
about
at
that.
it. Yeah.
I just heard about that. A lot of them go to Portugal because for whatever reason, I think Portugal is like a place for rich white people, I guess, to go and retire. It's one of the ideal places. And I think to hold a passport in certain countries like the US, more doors are open to you. And Portugal is one of those places.
Really? For
Hmm.
Portugal?
A lot of people, yeah, a lot of people from the States retire in Portugal.
White folks,
Even
right?
one of my, yes, yes.
Okay.
I didn't know why. I'm like, really? Yeah. Oh no, not us. We're not. I mean,
Yeah, not
I'm sure
us.
it'll be nice to go to Portugal, but I'm not
They're
trying
gonna
to
be
live
like,
amongst a bunch of white people.
they're gonna be like, didn't we get rid of y'all? What y'all
Mm-mm.
doing coming back here?
Right. Exactly. What? Right. You should have learned the first time. We don't want you
Exactly.
here.
Look, do we have to start the Inquisition all over again?
Right. We know how to do it. We're more
Yeah,
efficient this time. We won't get caught.
yeah,
We won't put it. We won't write it in those history books. We won't
yeah.
have it for B'nai Israel to come out on us.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we gonna hide it this time. You heard of CRT, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I was looking at different people in the diaspora, and there's some are in Gambia, some are in Ghana, Tanzania. I mean, there are different other places. Now, one place I saw was Namibia. Nobody ever really talk about.
Hmm.
One or two people go there. They got that German uh, influence, let's say. But I heard they have some of the better roads. In Tanzania, how's the roads out there?
Yikes. The roads are bad. They obviously have their main roads. Bagamoyo Road is one of the main roads. Bahari Beach Road is one of the main roads. And those are like the two major roads that seem to go through the city. And then the closer you are to the city center, obviously they're going to be more paved roads. But of course, the closer you are to the city center, the closer you are to where the Turkic people live and the Indians live. But as far as everywhere else, the roads are horrendous. They're horrendous. Like you think, oh, there's dirt roads. It's not just dirt. It's dirt, and then there's these huge rocks underneath them. So the roads are extremely uneasy. We ride around in these bajajis, or some people ride bodas, which are motorcycles, and
Oh, the border
like the way
boy.
you shake, yeah, exactly. The way you're just like this. Like I'm not joking. You're just like it, until you get to a main road. The roads are really bad. So I was talking about them, and my husband looked it up, and I think it said that only 2% of the roads are paved in Tanzania.
Wow, two
Just 2%.
percent.
Yeah.
Wow, what are they doing with the money?
I I don't know. Like, so there's a new bridge they built. That there's a Kigamboni is another area that you can drive to. It's kind of like an island, but you can drive to it, but it's like it's by itself. And there it used to be you can just go straight through, but now they've put I think they use the Chinese to build their roads here, which I don't understand. But I think they also use the Chinese to build this very expensive, very elaborate toll road. But it's like, why are you charging these people a toll. Like, where's the money going? And they complain all the time. Like, when I say the roads are bad, if you want, like, what I'll do is the next time I'm out, I will send. I'll take a video and I'll send it to you because I can't explain to you how bad they are. You have to actually see it. You really do.
So, so do you think today that Tanzania is the place for us to come? Because that's where I was going to go, but the Lord hasn't released me to leave. Do you think it's still the place to go, or should we look at other countries?
I think that it can be for some and it won't be for many. I think that it's a lot more difficult to be here. I know that. And I don't think I know that. And there are going to be a lot of people that if they're not ready to come here and unite, then they're either going to have to go back to Babylon because they run out of money, because they have no connections. You need connections in order to be here, in order to stay here, in order to get around either with ease or without always being overcharged for things. So while I can say that I'm grateful that I'm here, I would not suggest, unless everybody was going, if you knew that they were going to empty out the US, we were just going to flood East Africa, then yes. But as individuals coming by yourselves, I would say be very careful. One, who you trust before you get here, and two, who you meet when you get here. If you can connect with a really good group, or at least one or two good people who will look out for you, then it'll be that much easier. But it is very difficult from the airport until you get your own place. It can be very difficult to live here, and that is my God's honest truth.
Yeah, and so I mean, there's a lot of connections now. Like with people who are members of the Dry Bones Project, who live in Tanzania right now.
Hmm.
They're good people. They can reach out to you, and now they can reach out to you as well, Sharonda.
Yes,
Somebody who will
most definitely.
help them navigate things. So I know some people use that in terms of a business. Have you thought about that as trying to help the diaspora to get over there and also start a business that way? And I know some people also do tours and stuff. So what's y'all plans for making a living out there?
I actually have. The thing about being here, the wonderful thing about being here is that when you get here, all you see is opportunity. It's everywhere. It's everywhere for us because our eyes are fresh. The same way somebody could go to the US and see opportunity everywhere, I can come here and see it everywhere. And one of the things that I wanted to do after getting here and realizing that I needed someone to help me transition is be that person, to be that middleman. So that when you get off the plane and you walk out of the airport, someone's waiting for you with a car. You're not just you're not going to have to negotiate with one of these taxi drivers that wants to overcharge you. And you're not going to really know where you're going. That is what I that was my goal for being here even before I got here, because I'm a helpful person. It's just who I am. That's who the Most High made me to be. I'm an advocate. I'm always going to be that way. So that for me would be a goal. But on my YouTube channel is like I don't I don't utilize it. I really don't. I've used more Facebook as my platform to let people know where they can go, places that are nice, places that kind of suck. I've also hooked up with, I mentioned her name before, with Sharita, and we had a rather fun idea that I'm hoping that we'll be able to do, because I'm the kind of person that I miss some of the conveniences, some of those like yummy things that we had back home that you can't get here. You have to make it yourself. And all the ingredients that you need are at 5 different stores, and that costs you money to go to 5 different stores, and the 5 different stores are nowhere near each other. So it's like just creating a little bit of convenience, a little bit of um, I don't want to say home because we are home, but familiarity amongst the diaspora was what I want to do, because I crave a community. So I still have to pray about where the Most High is leading me with that. But like I always say, people can reach out to me and they can get the advice, and I respond very quickly. I'm not too busy to respond to a text or an email because I'm out here living the dream. Honestly, I really am. I'm not busy, not like we used to be in the States.
Yeah. So when it comes to the whole idea of like, let's say you try to start a business, like I can imagine all the things that they don't have that we need, but
Hmm.
is it possible to be able to get things shipped in from other places? Because, like for instance, I heard there's no such thing as a Home Depot, right?
No,
And
no.
so if we were able to create a Home Depot, or even just a small, what they call it, I forgot what the old name was, but let's say a small create a Home Depot. Do you think it's
Hmm.
possible to do that there?
I believe that that would be expensive just because of the kinds of things that Home Depot carries, and it is like most of the things that come here, they come from China, and their quality sucks. I'm not. There's no nice way to say that. The quality is crap. The Chinese stuff, the Chinese plastic crap that we get in the States, imagine it's worse, thinner. The
So
quality sucks. The colors are bright and weird. But so when we're importing things, it's super expensive, and it's not U.S. quality items because for whatever reason, the U.S. has an embassy here, but they don't really seem to have any connection between Tanzania and the U.S.
I know it would take a long time without government help to build the infrastructure to create our own supplies and, let's say our own timber and tools and all that stuff. Um,
Hmm.
is it impossible for the most part, or too is way too expensive to get that stuff shipped from America and Europe to Africa? Is it that
I don't. It's
much
not
more?
impossible. Mm,
Okay.
no, it's just cargo. The thing with cargo is, in order for you to get things shipped, and I could be wrong, as cargo, I went through this with my dog. You need a TIN number, which you can't get until you mean there are people here who can get you one. There's always somebody that can get you around it. So in order for cargo to be easier for you to get to receive, without having to use a third party, by third party I mean a local, that like you don't know if you can trust them, you need a TIN. But once you have a TIN, you'll be able to get things in. There's even a couple of groups that I'm in that they advertise that they ship cargo to and from, like, in between Africa and the US and the UK and Africa. So it's very much possible to do it. It is.
So if I wanted to create a Home Depot, you think I could do that? I could get those type
I
of.
believe you could.
Okay, okay,
Hmm.
and it's
You could get them
reasonable.
here. I
It
wouldn't say it's reasonable, but I think it would cost you. It could cost because from what I've realized, from I've noticed, cargo is based off of the weight, but they pack up those cargo containers with such efficiency that you could probably get a lot over here, without having to worry about space. So, like, as far as things being built, they build extremely quickly here, and they built everything out of cement. The structures of the homes are all cement. Nothing is wood, like how we build the structures of our frame houses, where there's wood and then you may put cement around it. Their whole houses are cement. So you have these really huge, or even small, sturdy spaces made of cement. So you could the infrastructure, as far as having the space available, all you need to do is buy it. There's so much empty land, and there's so many people here to build a space for you. You would just have to obviously get the permits, the resident permit. I think it's a resident visa and a work permit. Hmm. Um, and that could
so
run you about 5,000 USD.
that's for the permit.
Yeah, that's for the whole process, and sometimes it's a little bit more depending on um, the type of permit you need. Like tourism is going to be the highest. I think that when you're opening up a store, depending on what you're buying, they want to know how much capital you have, obviously. But from what I've heard, you don't even have to be honest with them. They're not really checking up on you. That's why I believe that it's a lot easier to build here and build wealth here, because there it seems to be a way around many of the rules, except for when you have to get a permit and a resident visa.
So I know from what I've seen, there's no standards or quality checks
Mhm.
for the homes, and I've seen where some people would have homes built and it will retain moisture and then end up having fungus and mold and stuff like that on it. Um,
Oh.
have you heard about that type of thing? And if so, have you all network to find the ones who do follow some type of standard? Because I think when we get there, we have to set all of that up, right? We're gonna have to set up our own
Standard.
certification things and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
That was one of the first things we noticed. Again, I mentioned my husband, he's very good with his hands. And even just as something as simple as installing an air conditioner. And let me see if you can see it. Oh, let me see. Dang it, I'm really bad with the camera. There it is.
Oh
That's our
yeah,
air
yeah.
conditioner in our bedroom.
Uh-huh.
Um, it wasn't blowing out cold enough. And it's not like it's so hot here we need it on super cold, but we've used one before in a bigger space and it was freezing. So we had the fundi, which is what they call them, like fundi AC, fundi mechanic, whatever. We had the guy come in and he comes in and he puts his hand up to the air conditioner in front of it and says, "Oh, it's blowing out cold enough." That's not the way that it works. You can't tell me with your hand that this is the way, like this is as cold as it's supposed to be. So my husband, who's installed air conditioners, knows like this is a tool you're supposed to have. They don't even have that tool available in the country. So it's
So,
like a lot of the tools we would use that are the standard that's been set by the world for certain things to work accurately, they don't have the ability to either install it correctly or check to see if it's working correctly.
yeah, that
Same with
that
housing.
that that has to be frustrating. So
It
let me
is.
ask you this: since your husband is good with his hands, or has he decided to start a business? Because I mean, I'm sure that the diaspora alone would like somebody who can, fix stuff at a Western level of
Yeah.
excellence, right?
Right now he's building furniture because the we got a bed made, and while it's a nice sturdy bed, the wood like I said, their standards are not our standards. I won't say that they're
Yeah.
low, but we have a standard that we have, and they have a standard that they have, and I feel like they don't know that. No one's quite told them that when you're getting wood I have a four-poster bed. If you can see the corner, the wood that's the structure of the bed, the legs, they're bowed, so they're like bent like that inward, which those are the kinds of things aesthetically it's not pleasing, and also will it hold. So he just decided to make the rest of our furniture because it's like I don't want to keep having to be disappointed at having things made. I got a sofa made, and it wasn't as big as we thought it was going to be. And when he delivered it, it wasn't even clean. It rained that day, and he works outside, and there's dirt on my couch, on my like tan colored couch. And when I told him that I had a problem with it, he didn't seem to like it. Didn't. It was as if he had never gotten that complaint, so it must have been unfounded that I did that. So right now, he's building our furniture, but what he's running into is a lot of the tools that they have in order to do things more efficiently. Either the tools are extremely expensive or non-existent. So he's
So
having to do a lot of things by hand.
wow. So it
Mhm.
seems to me, and let me get your opinion on this, because I was thinking about this, because I remember when I was reading the scriptures about the Exodus, and they went into the wilderness, and they were out there. How come we don't have no meat, and how come we don't have no water, and now I'm looking at you all in Africa, and I'm like, I could
How
see
come we don't have
that.
no tools?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm telling you, like I used to be like these Israelites, they being the most, they doing the most. I am my family.
Yeah.
I'll be out here like, oh my God, I can't get decent ice cream.
Yeah.
These Oreo, like someone who shall remain nameless said that Oreos taste like dust. Like it's so hard to get comfortable. Like these sheets are too hard. I'm a princess. I am a princess, a suburban princess. So I brought sheets with me
Yeah.
because I'm a comfort seeker. So when y'all go into the wilderness, even if you are fleeing, grab a pillow, a blanket, and some sheets so you can sleep on the ground at least with something familiar. But yes, most definitely we are grumbling. I know I'm grumbling. Father, please forgive me for grumbling, but I am. We're having our own little personal wilderness experiences.
Yeah, because I remember I was like, you know, how come God brought them out into the wilderness? They should know, they should just have faith.
Right.
And then it's
They
like,
should, right.
well, okay, well,
You
they
just
came
saw what
from,
he did for you.
yeah. But then you think about it, you say, well, they came from Egypt, like we're in America. They had the
Hmm.
best of Egypt, like we have the best of
Yes.
America. And you giving
Yeah.
up your AC, you giving up your nice cars, you giving up your nice roads, you giving
It's
up
all
the
cheap.
all of this, and you like you get there like, how come we ain't got no quail? you know?
Right, exactly. I have to eat cuckoo and chips again.
Exactly.
All out here, all they like cuckoo and chips. It's chicken and French fries.
Yeah.
It's served everywhere, and if it's not cuckoo and chips, it's chipsy my eye, which is eggs and French fries. Like they put the fries inside the eggs and make like an omelet in a sense. That's everywhere. Or mishkaki. So it's like if I have to eat one more plate of cuckoo and chips, that's my quail.
Where's my Popeye
Yeah.
chicken? I want my
Oh my
chicken sandwich.
lord. I want some Popeyes. I want like I when I first got here, the one of the first places we went to was KFC. I'm not even a KFC person. We was like an hour drive from where we were staying in King and Boney to the closest, I wish it was Popeyes, closest KFC. I took a video. I was so excited, and I can honestly say that the KFC here is better than the KFC in Babylon.
I
It tastes
heard that. I
better.
heard that. So is it that the chicken is real fresh? Is that's what it
It
is, or
is.
what?
It's very fresh. It's always cooked to order. It's crispy. It's not oily. The fry, like they have fries. They don't have all. They don't have the same menu. Like they don't sell. They don't have biscuits. They don't do well with bread here. A lot of their bread is really hard.
Hmm.
Or like not hard in the sense of like it's old, but dense. It's really dense. So they don't do biscuits and stuff like that. But there's another place that sells chicken and fries called Mary Brown, and I think their food is really good too. So there are good options. It's just you're not going to get anything that tastes the same way that it tastes in the states. And what's like even Dasani water. Dasani is disgusting to me in the states, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
delicious here. I don't
really.
know how. It tastes completely different. And their water, they tell you what's in their water. So they tell you if there's fluoride in it, if there's not fluoride in it. And they actually have water here that has no fluoride.
So most like where you're living now, is it a Airbnb or a home or what is it?
We're in a three-bedroom house in Unanio, which is most people come here and stay in Bezzy Beach. I'm about 30 minutes, I would say, north of Bezzy Beach, which is where most expats tend to live. So I'm kind of in the outskirts.
So do they have boreholes or are they part of a major city sewage system and water system?
I assume so because we've never like we pay our water bill, but it come because it got to come from somewhere. We have
Yeah.
these giant, I don't know, water containers, and I assume, but there's a pipe that leads up to it. So I think if we didn't pay our water bill, it would get cut off. Same with electricity. We pay our electricity when it before it runs out, so it's not like you get a bill. Nothing here is on a bill basis except for the water bill. They'll send you that, and even we were here for a month and a half before we even got a water bill, and it was so cheap. Oh my gosh, I have to ask. I have to look at it again, but it was so cheap for a water bill that we take long showers, we take hot showers, we have a water heater, fans, air conditioners. The electricity for us, it's um, it's not a problem. I know for some of the locals, they'll sit in the dark or they don't even have electricity. They call them Swahili houses in those kinds of houses. But for us, we're comfortable where we are. We do have the occasional power outage in this area because we're further out. But as far as like Wi-Fi and electricity, like I said, it's steady 98% of the time. Water flows. We have no issues where we are.
So do you know how many within the diaspora have started businesses in Tanzania?
As far as officially where they are like registered with the government, I really only know of about five, and most of them are restaurants. The only one that's not a restaurant is Ford's Herbal, and that's Tim and Javon's spot, and that's in Bezzy. But most of the places that are open, they're restaurants. There's a really good restaurant called Ya Man in Bezzy Beach, and they have really really good um, chicken and waffles. The waffles are amazing, and this homemade syrup and everything. So there are a lot of us out here that have restaurants, but I'm still figuring out where they are, who they are.
So do you know if their businesses are doing good?
I assume so. I've been to Yaman once, and we went in the middle of the day, so that we were really the only patrons there. But I'm in a group with them, and I haven't heard anything about them like not getting a lot of business. I think that what we need, what would help, is a directory, because I want to support the people. I want to support my people. Like, I came in to support the Tanzanians, but they don't own a lot of stuff here. They sell things, like they sell produce, and we buy all our produce from the local markets, and then we go to the larger shopping centers for everything else. But it's hard to find out. Like, it's hard to know where people are set up. I had to find out. I found out about 5 to 7 restaurants that are set up by the diaspora from a guy who used to live here, who lives back in Babylon. So it's like people are they're so afraid to connect with people that they're missing out on opportunities to let us know that they're here.
So let me ask you this: in terms of like the Tanzanian elite, black elite, not the Mgunzus, right? Have you met any or seen any Tanzanian elite, and where do they live?
I don't think I have, but I know I can tell I've seen their cars. They're the ones who drive Range Rovers.
Yeah.
They're the ones who drive like the elite look the same all over the world. It's really weird. It's like the standard for luxury has been set by the West. I don't know if they realize that, but I know a lot of them live in Bweni, with like in large, beautiful houses. A lot of them live in Unanio in large, like you can tell where the houses are really big, that's where they are. They live in Bezi Beach. They live in Misaki, um, Oyster Bay, and Winnie. Those are the places. And Winnie is pretty far north. It's probably still a good 15, 20 minutes north of me.
So are these the
But
black
you can tell
elites,
where
or
they are.
are these the
Hmm.
black elites?
That's a mixture.
I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
it is. It's I always thought that they were other nations, but no. I can see people who I can see who's driving these cars, and the thing is, the the Turks and the Indians and the Chinese who live here, they really only stay in their own neighborhoods. So they may come out like to go to take their kids to school in certain areas, but for the most part they live in their own neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods that I mentioned, you don't really ever see them like that. When you go to the grocery stores, you don't see them unless they're always sending their Tanzanian help, their dadas, to go out shopping for them. I only ever saw them mostly in the city center.
So, because I was thinking, like, I remember when Whole Foods started, and they would open up their little small Whole Foods stores in like the upper
Hmm.
areas, right? The
Right.
the middle high to the upper class areas. If you all were to do something like that, and open it up in those, because you got to go where the money at, because the poor people
Hmm.
are going to find other ways to do things, and then they're not going to
Right.
necessarily patronize your store unless it's something they have to have, like gasoline or something. um,
Right.
you know I was thinking that same model would work, right? You start with the elite, you build up, get their money, and then you can expand out into the other areas as the economy and the system
Right.
starts to be able to sustain more businesses. What's your thoughts on that?
100%. Location, location, location. We know that. Like, we know we have learned so much from being raised in captivity, that it kicks in when you're in a place that's not where you were. Even and I can only speak to two places that I know. Like, even Ford's Herbal is in Bezi, right next to Shoppers. So they're getting a lot of foot traffic just walking past their location, because it's Shoppers is there are, I think, four or five grocery stores that are Shoppers, and they're the major grocery store in the area. So most people go to them to get most of their food. So, like I said, they're in by the Shoppers in Bezi, and Yaman is also on the way to Shoppers in Bezi. You have to pass their restaurants to get to that Shoppers location. They put their locations in a very good area because it's always people there, and most of the diaspora go there and move to that area because it's so populous, because it's so populated and it's easy to get around. You can walk if you live there because you can walk to the store. You don't have to spend as much money getting a ride through Uber or Bolt or trying to get a ride just in general. So most of the diaspora what I've noticed, they live in Bezi, and if they want to live further out, they live in Bahari Beach.
And one more question. So, in terms of the Israelite diaspora that's out there, do you all get together and meet on like Shabbat or anything like that, or what?
There is a group that meets and they hop around. I was introduced to one of the ladies because she and her husband own Yaman, and I was invited to come to the Sabbath with them, and I suck. I'm bad in groups. I just kind of clam up. So I've sadly been not showing up. But yes, there is a group of, from what I've heard, wonderful people who meet every Sabbath. They come together. They do a potluck. They have all the kids there, and they just hop around from different locations so they can make it even. They go to Yaman, they go to people's houses, they go to the restaurants that the diaspora owns. So yes, there is a nice little group. And when I finally get the nerve to introduce myself, I'll let you know. I'll let them know. Like, just people are waiting. There are Israelites that are here that are lost without other Israelites, because for the most part, while and by that I mean people who understand what it means to be an Israelite, not just, oh, this is my new identity and doesn't mean anything. It's my walk, and that group, to me, from what I've noticed, is very small, but they're
Yeah. So,
here.
so are they like outside of meeting on the Shabbat? Are they working together business wise and trying to build that economy for the Israelite community, or is it still like individualistic?
I from what I've from what I've gathered, that's what it seems like. The only person that I know that seems to be she calls herself Garvey minded, and she knows who she is. She knows she's an Israelite. Um, she invited me to a group, and then a lot smaller group where we're going to get together. We're meeting on Sunday to hammer out how we can be the voice for the diaspora. So it's happening, and I'm happy to be a part of it. It'll be my first meeting, and I'm hoping that we can get a lot done, and I can get a lot of information on what's been going on, because we need it.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know that I know T3 and me have a business, and I know that Ator and his wife were Aisha. They were trying to help the community and build little parks and stuff like that. So
Mm,
I see little things being done, but I would expect, just my opinion, that we all would sort of like try to work together. But from what I'm
yeah,
hearing, maybe that's not really working out that way. I guess they're doing things by themselves and building these
yeah,
things by themselves. And I don't see how we can really grow if we don't learn to be like the Chinese, let's say, and
right.
come
And
together
they're
and
here,
yeah, and build
and
empires.
they,
And that's the other thing. Let me ask you
yeah.
this: I heard that there's a lot of Chinese there. Is that true?
I don't see as many Chinese as I see like Indians and Turks. Like
Okay.
they, if they're here, they don't stay long, or I don't know where they live, but I see a handful, and normally if I do, I see them at the mall.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Let me
But
see
their
what.
presence is here, definitely. Their presence is here because, like I mentioned earlier, they're responsible for building the roads. That's their little contribution to, in order to, I would imagine, to enslave Tanzania with debt. I've seen like their stores. There's a store called Wan Long, and there's more. There's at least two. They have an Asian market like place type store. So they're here. I just don't see the people. It's weird.
Yeah. So, Brother Jermaine says, if we can't work together here, how are we gonna work together somewhere else and start doing it? I mean, that's
100%.
a valid point. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, the curse is pretty strong in that area. I don't know how we unite. I mean, how do you think we can unite?
It's we're gonna have to be made to, like, we almost need to be brought to a barren land, And the Most High will instruct us to build and come together with what we took with us. Because if we are anywhere where there's already a culture set up, we will hide ourselves like turtles in that culture. And that's what people are doing. I first I came here and I was like, well, I want to be accepted and I want to be, I want to be embraced. And then I've had I had to curse a couple people out. And not like Israelites, but the locals. Like I had to get in some people. And I was like, I'm sorry, wait, I'm Judah. Like this fire within me
Yep.
will not be
Yep.
I didn't come here to blend in. I didn't come here to blend in. So now, as you see, I'm very vocal. I feel like I was one of the first people to honestly say it sucks here sometimes.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sucks. It is not all roses and butterflies. I
And
gosh, that would be
it's good to
amazing.
hear that, right? You know why it's good to hear that? Because I know everything ain't roses and perfume, right? I'm like, I need to know sometime that it's difficult and that people might treat me wrong sometime and the system isn't
Hmm.
easy to navigate. I need to know these things so when I come, I can be
You're not
prepared
caught
for
off
it.
guard. Right.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
I find that and just something I was thinking about, and I'm not saying I'm correct, but I think we have to look at the diaspora, the descendants of slaves, ADOS, right? Who's Israel, who's Judah, as a separate tribe, right? Because I
Hmm.
noticed that, a lot of people say we should go there and learn the culture and intermingle with the culture, which I don't have a problem with, because I do agree with that to an extent. But we are
Right.
different, right? We're different
Hmm.
and we think different, we see things, we move different. And so we have to move like a separate tribe in certain areas, right?
Yeah.
How we deal with each other, building businesses, dealing with the government, dealing with all these things, because we're different. And I always say it like when we really get to the continent, a lot of people ain't gonna like it, right?
Nope.
They're not gonna like it because we not passive, and if you step to us,
Mm-mm.
we're gonna step back at you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not gonna do it like they do when the Mzungu hit them with a stick. You know how you saw those videos of the Chinese be beating on some
Right.
of the Israelites?
Yes.
That's
Yes, I
not us.
have.
That's not us. You know what I'm saying?
Never.
And
Never.
then I saw one video where one of the guys he's standing there watching his friend get hit by a Chinese guy with a stick,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Just
nah,
watching. They're quite they can be quite passive here. The times I've had to like show them who I am, they get taken aback. Like they don't know what to do because it's not a part of their culture to buck the system. And I think that's the issue that I think the government will have with us is we will buck the system. It has been shown generation after generation after generation that we are fighters. We're not just going to take it.
yep,
And I think that will be a reason why they will be afraid to bring us here because the people here are quite docile. People have said,
exactly,
"Oh, Judah's docile." No, no, we're not. We may
no.
have put up with a lot of mess being in captivity, but we're definitely not a docile people, not collectively. And
I
together,
think
we're
what
so
it
much
is,
stronger.
I think we as a people are a fair and honest people. So it's like the way that the enemy move is that they say, "Hey, friend," and you like, "Oh, well, I'm not sure if he's a friend or an enemy." And
Right.
so if we don't know you're an
Yeah.
enemy, we're not gonna really fight you. But if we know you're our enemy, we'll fight you.
It's
The
over for you.
problem is they obscure that, right? And so
Right.
the way our people are, I don't want to hurt an innocent person. But if you're not an
Hmm.
innocent person, oh, you might get hurt.
I'm
And
coming
I
for you.
think,
Right.
I think they know that about us, right? And that's why
Yeah.
it's always like, sort of grayish. You sort of don't know who your enemy is. They make it obscured, and you really can't
Yeah.
focus on it, right? So if it was like, okay, Judah fighting the Romans, okay, I know the Romans my enemy, ain't no problem, right? But then you got
Hmm.
some other people hanging around like, they might even be Shem, they might be your cousins, but they don't like you,
Right.
right?
Some man actually told me that. Like he was from Arusha and we were at the beach and he was talking to my husband really. And I was just sitting watching the water. He comes over and he's like, he didn't speak English well, and he was like pointing at himself and then pointing at you. I mean, pointing at me, and he kept saying, "You're Shem," and I'm like, I'm looking it up. I'm pulling out my it's early on, and I'm pulling out my Google Translate, trying to translate it into like from Swahili into English, and I kept typing in shim. I'm like shim. I'm like I don't know. Like I don't know what you're saying because I guess it's a Swahili word. And then he goes like he points to stuff. He goes, I'm your brother. You're my sister. And then he points to my husband, and he goes, but he's not my brother. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, he kept saying it was your shim, we're shim. And then I was like, okay, well, thanks, have a nice day. So then when I got in the car with my driver, I asked him, I was like, what does shim mean in Swahili? And he was like, that's not a Swahili word. He goes, and I told him the situation. He says, oh, he's probably telling you that you're Shemitic.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah,
they
yeah,
know who we are. I think they know, especially if they're from Arusha, maybe not so much from Dar. Um, but the ones that are more like still in their tribes, I think they've kept their culture and their information a lot better than those who move to the city. It's the same way when you go to a city of any major city, you become a melting pot. You kind of forget who you are. You begin to assimilate.
yeah, yeah.
So I think that when we meet people from Arusha and Kilimanjaro, they know who we are more often than not.
So here, April Lee says, "I'm sorry, her statement makes us look difficult or hostile." I'm like, personally, I don't think that's the case. I think we are a type of people who are humble for the most part, but we don't take nobody crap. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I think we are. I mean, that's the way we have to do to survive here. It's not a matter of being
I'm
difficult or
unapologetic.
hostile, huh?
April, you can take it. April Lee can take it however she wants to. April, I hope that if you're in this situation, that you can handle it with as much grace as you can muster up. But until you come here and live this life, my hostility, my difficult or hostile environment or words are not statements that I'm saying, they're based off of you not knowing me and not knowing my walk. And I'm 100% unapologetic for my opinions and the way that I perceive things because I know that I can be very impartial. I know how to see things from both sides. And what I've understood, I came in here with an open heart, like many of us. Nobody came here and was like, I'm going to take over these people because I'm Judah. None of us came in like that. We all
Yeah.
came in here wanting to be embraced. And what we were met with was, give me your money and then get out of my country. That's what we're met with. So we have to come with an idea, with a shield up until we know who we can trust, and that's anywhere you go. And if you want to go in and bend over for somebody, you go right on ahead, honey.
And see that's the thing. That's the reason why, Sharon, I wanted to have you on because I like your honesty and I like the fact that you tell it like it is. That's what I needed to hear. I think that's what we all needed to hear. And even the idea of how like they'll be passive for the Mzungu, but for us, they'll treat us a different way. And so my point
Hmm.
is that we're not passive, right? We're not going to bend over
Nope.
for the Mzungu. And if you skip me in line, I'm gonna say, look, you best get behind me,
There's a
right?
lot
I'm
of
not
that.
gonna let you just skip in front of me. You know what I'm saying? That's how we
They
are.
do that.
And I,
Like the locals do that.
yeah,
The locals will
and
jump right in front of you in line. You're just like, was I not standing here?
yeah,
They do that a lot.
you know. But see, that's the thing. It's like the way we are. At least I know for me. I ain't gonna speak for y'all. I'm gonna be like, you best get behind me. That's me. I'm not
Right.
passive. I'm not
There's a
gonna just sit
line.
there and let you skip me. Yeah.
Right.
And I think being in America, a lot of us are that way. And I don't think that's a bad way to be.
Hmm.
And
I
if
don't
I
either.
want to let you skip me, right? If I feel good that day, I might let you
I
do
will. I won't say anything.
it. Yeah.
Right.
But 9 times out of 10, it
It's
ain't
the
gonna
same
happen.
thing I would do anywhere. If I have a
Yeah.
right, if I have a bunch of stuff and I have a basket full of things, you're behind me and you have one thing, no matter where I may be like, you know what, you can go in front of me. I have all this stuff. Or I may be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
sucks to be you. Got to stand behind me with all this
Yeah.
stuff in my like in my in my basket.
Exactly.
It just depends. But it's like honestly, we do. I haven't met one person at all. Sorry about the light. I haven't met one person that's come here that's hard because oh well we've been through so much here. If the people who are coming here want to make Africa, want to unite Africa, And that
Yeah.
that takes one-on-one interactions with the people who are already here. So we're getting our hands slapped, and there are times we're being embraced. It just depends on the experiences that the Most High has for you. What I can say for me is now I'm more aware of their culture, and I don't even believe it's an African culture. I believe it is the culture of people who have been colonized by a specific people.
Exactly.
We tend to
Exactly.
forget that they also had a slave trade,
Yep.
and their colonizers live amongst them, where we have the opposite, where we live amongst our colonizers in their
Yep.
land. So imagine, like, there's this, we all know that here, I mean, the Dar es Salaam, I'm pretty sure that's Arabic, and every, I don't know, 3 hours throughout the day, I hear they're called to prayer over loudspeakers for like an hour. Imagine being like, imagine that being your life. That sounds like Babylon to me. That sounds like when, was it Nebuchadnezzar had them play that music,
Yeah.
then they had to
Yep.
go
Hit
and
a
bow.
trumpet in the flute and come and
That's
bow
what they were.
down. Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
that's my first thought was, and I don't know what they're saying because it's not in English. It's in the language that they speak. But it's like they're in a land that's theirs, but their captors still run it. So yes, I can relate to them on that level, but that doesn't mean I'm going to let them run over me, because we're hurt just like they are.
Yeah. And the other thing I heard, which surprised me, is that most of the people on the African continent don't know anything about the slave trade. They don't know who
They
we
sure
are,
don't.
what our circumstances are. And it's like they think we just come in there because everything, because we crazy. One, they think we're leaving paradise to come to Africa,
Right.
right? But they don't know they're
Yeah.
killing us over here and poisoning our water, our
No.
air, our food,
Right.
everything. They don't understand what we're going through. I'm like, y'all have it good. Y'all have your own land. You have clean water. You have organic fruits and organic animals. I'm like, they're
Things
not
you can sell.
poisoning
Like
you.
the chicken tastes totally different here. I'm
Yeah,
not joking. I can go have a chicken killed, like literally, I can pick it out, and they will kill it and pluck it for me. And I'll take it home and I can put it in the freezer or whatever and cook it up when I'm ready. Just down the street, it's like maybe 30 minutes if I walk, and less than that if I drive. Obviously, there are freedoms that they have that we're experiencing for the first time, and
yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah.
It's utterly amazing.
Even like today, I think most people, especially the ones younger than me, they think they're free and they're not. And I
Mm-mm.
remember when I was young, my dad brought me to Mississippi to go see my cousins and my aunts and my uncles and everybody. And this was the first time I ever left, New Orleans and went to go see my cousins in Mississippi. And they cooked some fried chicken. Oh my goodness! I mean, freshly killed fried chicken in a cast
Yep.
iron black skillet.
Oh
I'm
my
like, oh
gosh.
my
If
goodness.
you come here, bring that cast iron skillet with you, because you're not going to be able to find
Yeah.
it.
But I'm like, it was so good. And like, you can't get that today,
Mm-mm.
because everything is institutionalized. Everything is controlled by corporations. Everything goes through this process. And then you don't know what they're injecting your food with, right? I'm like, you're enslaved
Right.
more than this world has ever been.
Then you
It's just
even
that you
know.
don't know it.
Right.
I remember, I forgot who the guy said, one of the Luciferian elite. He said, we're going to make them love their servitude. How do you make somebody love
Wow.
their servitude, right? It's because you give them all of these little things, but you don't
Hmm.
self determination. You can't decide what you want to eat. You can't decide what you're going to drink. It has to come through the process. And if it comes through the process, we could do anything we want to that food, to that water, to whatever. But you all have access to your own food, to your own animals. You know what I'm saying? They're not
Yeah.
spraying you with chemtrails unless you're in the midst of
Right.
the middle of the city,
I haven't
right?
I
I'm like,
haven't seen one yet.
yeah,
Haven't seen. I haven't even plane or heard an airplane fly over me. Like, now that I think about it, there are so many things that I don't even realize that don't happen anymore, because it's like my mind is different here. My mind is clearer here. The air is different. Like I said, even the Dasani water tastes different. It's like what's up is down and what's down is up. There are candies here that we get from the States, Snickers. It's one of my favorite candy bars. I was very excited when I found it. I ate it, and the chocolate was richer. There were more peanuts, less of the other nougat stuff, whatever
Yeah.
that is. It was, I mean, granted, Snickers is not natural, but it was there was more of the natural thing in it, which was
Yeah.
peanuts and the chocolate, things you find on Earth and not things that are made in a lab. And it's like just the little things like that where you're like, wow, even their candy has to be real,
Yep.
even their chocolate has to go through a process. They're not allowed to put certain things. They have Mountain Dew here, but it's not the same as Mountain Dew at home because there's something in the Mountain Dew at home that makes it more addictive. That like the things that they put in their food here, it's just food. It's just food.
Exactly.
Like you said, that
Yeah.
you can fry
No
a chicken and it
additives.
tastes different. No
Yep. No.
additives, no
Yeah.
additives, no red dye number 8. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing the amount of
Exactly.
things,
Or natural
even the
flavors.
natural, right? Oh, don't get me started on the natural flavor, which is probably just like pork juice.
Yeah.
Even as far as finding pork, like they're putting pork in everything. You may as well just
Yep.
stop eating.
Yep.
Um, like even like it's easy. It's so easy to find beef bacon here. You know how I had to search high and low. I could only find beef bacon at Walmart. That's it. When I was in the States,
A
here
Whole
beef
Foods.
bacon is available. Right. Oh my gosh. Whole check.
Yeah.
Like, but you can find like they keep all the it's clearly labeled pork, and I think that's the only benefit to being in a country where the ruling class, and I don't put that lightly, the ruling class is Muslim, is that they don't look kindly on pork here. They
Yeah.
have signs that say no pork, so that there's no pork anywhere in this facility. The pork is kept separately, it's clearly labeled, and you're going to see mostly beef. You're going to see chicken. The chicken wings are so much, they're the size of an actual chicken. They're not huge and beefed up, and it's just amazing the difference. Even the watermelons, they're not as big. They're bright red. The strawberries are itty bitty because they're not beefed up.
Yeah.
Everything is the size that it should be. It's
See,
it's weird.
see that, and
Well,
see
it's
that's what I'm
normal.
saying about the freedom, right? People don't
Hmm.
realize that's freedom, and we
Right.
don't have freedom here in the States. We don't control
Mm-mm.
nothing, not even what we eat. That's a problem,
Not
And
even what we
so,
eat.
yeah, and that's why a lot of us sick. We have the certain
Right.
diseases and all these things because literally, we're being exterminated, but on
Yeah. Yeah.
it's it's a slow kill process, and that's the thing. It's like, let me ask you this: so, do you feel? And I think you probably said it. You feel freer out there, right?
Definitely. Most definitely. 100%. 100%. There is not a day I wake up and think I should go back to Babylon. No. No.
So, what could they
Never.
do to invite you back to America? What would bring you back?
Money, reparations, so that I
Yeah,
could get my
reparations,
money and
and
then
then go
leave.
back to
And that's
Africa.
it. Like, and go back, like, and build it up. That's exactly what I would do. I would go get my check, and if it was like, oh, you have to stay here for 10 years in order to get it, I would pass.
Yeah, yeah.
I would pass.
That's like me.
Who knows
I
if I'll
told.
be alive in 10 years
Yeah,
based off of what they're
exactly.
doing to our food and air and water.
Yep. I told my wife, I said, if we get some millions of dollars, you coming with me to Africa, right? She said, yeah, if you get the millions of dollars, I'll come, right? So I mean, hopefully the
You
Exodus
can do a
come.
lot. Ooh, you can do a lot with that. Like the exchange rate is over. It's more than double. So say
Yeah,
something is 10,000 T shillings. That's usually about $4.13 at home. So your money does go a lot further here. But if you're being nickel and dimed everywhere you go, then that becomes the issue of your money being quickly drained.
yeah. And like, here in the States, I mean, they tax us to death, interest on
Yeah.
loans, because you sort of can't survive sometimes because sometimes you have to
Yeah.
take out a loan unless you're rich, right? Or you can do it
Right.
out. I mean, it depends on what you need. Because some people want to go to
That's
school.
true.
Like, I don't think school is a great investment really anymore, but
Nuh-uh.
back in the day it was, I
Not
think.
since like right. I think maybe after the 80s, it was just like, why?
Exactly.
Maybe the 90s,
Exactly.
early 90s.
Yeah.
Now it's just like the people who are going to school to be teachers, they hate students. The people who are going to school to be lawyers hate criminals. It's like what are you gonna do with your
Exactly.
life now? I really wanted to be a marine biologist. Well, it's too late because you're $100,000 in debt, and you're
Exactly.
not going to change you're not going to go back into the work. You're not going to go back to school to be a marine biologist because we're not really taught to follow our hearts or follow our dreams or follow our intuition. We're taught to follow dollars, and
Yep.
they're being
And
taught the same thing here.
exactly. And the more money you make,
Uh,
the more money the government takes, right? And so it's
right,
like unless
unless
you are,
you have a
huh?
good accountant and they find loopholes, that's the only way you're keeping that money.
And the loopholes are in corporations, right? Tax write-offs, things
Yes,
like that, trust funds,
exactly.
stuff like that, right? And most
Yep.
of us don't have that, so we don't
Nope.
have the write-offs. I mean, what's the guy named
Mm-mm.
Bezos for Amazon?
Oh my
He didn't pay
gosh.
any taxes, zero.
Yeah.
Multi
I
billionaire.
Yeah, I used to work for a real estate company, a Remax in Arizona, and one of the women made so much money. She and her team made so much money. Let's just say last year, year before last, that she was able to go out and buy a brand new, fully loaded Tahoe with cash. She needed to buy it to put herself in a different tax bracket so she wouldn't have to pay as many taxes.
Yep. And that's why they have
I was like,
multiple. Yep. That's why they have their main home and they have the summer home and they have the winter
right.
home because
I thought they were just showing off. Nah,
yeah, it's tax write-off.
right, exactly. And I can't even like I couldn't even afford a house. Like even
Yep.
the RV that we had, we got there with a loan. Like we own it because we got the kind of loan where they give you the money. Those suckers, we're never gonna pay them back. I will leave my debt in the U.S. That's
Yeah.
my big old take that. There's
Yeah.
no point in me continuing to be a part of their system. There isn't. When we left, we decided we were not going back. I mean, I can't imagine a situation where we would have to, and I really pray the Most High keeps us so that we're able to sustain the lifestyle here. I've been homeless. I've lived in a car. I've lived in an RV. I've lived in a motel. I know how to live without. And living without here, would, I can't, I would imagine that it's a lot better than living without in the States because there's still pressure in the States. I can pick fruit off a tree or off the ground here. I'm
Yeah.
never going to starve.
Exactly. And that's what I noticed. I would watch some of the T3 and Me videos and uh, stepping stones in them, and I would see
Hmm.
these trees in the yards, and they got
Filled with fruit.
mangoes and all this stuff.
Yep.
I'm like, you'll never go hungry. You'll never starve to
Never.
death.
Nope.
But here in
And
the
even if
States,
you like, you could probably just, right, pick a fruit off a tree and see how
yep.
fast you get shot.
Here's the funny thing: when I was young, everybody had some kind of fruit tree. Like we used to have a fig tree in the backyard. My neighbor had them kumquats or whatever. Try to find that in the yard today, ain't unless they
Right.
just
I'm
started
like, you
planting.
must have lived in some kind of magical place.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Wow.
Sister Sharonda, can you tell us about your channel and how anyone who's interested can follow you?
The channel is my YouTube channel is the Rivera's Travel. I promise I will do better. I will do better because I'll be taking a trip quite soon. So I'm gonna blog that as well. But I do want people to know what it's like being here. So the Rivera's Travel, or you could always email me at SharondaRoberts@yahoo.com. If you can see it on the screen, it's spelled like that. And like I said, I get back to people really quickly. I'm also on Facebook under the same name, Sharonda Roberts. And I started a Facebook page called Honestly Dar, and it's just for people to go in and leave honest reviews of experiences they've had from restaurants to parks to hotels to Airbnbs to help people navigate the city better when they're here. Because though we reached out to people to help us before we got here and we did so much research, watched videos, looked at statistics, it was still very difficult the moment we got here. Getting through the visa process was easy, but I mean, it was. I can say that it was a cakewalk compared to negotiating with the taxi cab driver. So if you're going to come here and you're serious about coming here, if you have questions, you can email me and I'll be happy to give you any information. And right now, I'm not charging because I'm still new and I can only offer so much of myself. But I want people to be able to come here with a better mindset, and better prepared than we were when we got here.
And I want to thank you for coming on because we needed a another view of living in Africa, and I'm glad you came and gave us a balanced view of that. And I don't think it's going to stop people who want to leave, because if the calling is on you to
Hmm.
go, then you're going to go.
Exactly.
And so I want to thank you for coming on. And family, please go over to her channel and support her. And we're going to have her back again. And once again, thanks for coming on, Sister Sharonda.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I had a one. I was nervous. I was like, "Oh, what kind of questions is he gonna answer? Is he gonna ask me? Am I gonna have to be like too honest? Because I can be. I've been told I don't have any tact, but I try to say things in love. And my face is like this all the time. I'm an actor, so I feel what I say what I feel, and I mean what I say. But I say it in love. I love you all so much, and if when I get to see you in the wilderness, whatever that looks like, I want to embrace you. I'm going to embrace you.
And see, that's what I like too. You sort of remind me of myself, where, it's like, okay, maybe I'm honest to a fault, but it's because I love you. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so, I don't like to put on airs and stuff like that, because I don't have no agenda. And that's what I like, right? And so, family, once again, please go to her channel and please support the Dry Bones Project. We have a bunch of family members out there journeying with us, T3 and me, Stepping Stones to Home. And now, what is it? Travel with Rivera, or
Oh, the Rivera's travel.
the Rivera's Travel. So make sure you go support our sister Sharonda. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending.